Hey everyone, MJS back again with another video here. Thank you so much for clicking on it and taking the time to watch. Greatly appreciate it. Interesting topic that I want to chat about. I'm going to try to keep it as concise as possible, but I've noticed that I just like to more of a long form content creator. So I got a lot of notes. I'll show them to you here in a minute, and we'll chat about this topic, which is kind of my history in crypto over the past year and a few months, and also what kind of sparked me wanting to make this video and what I plan to do moving forward, because it's just kind of gotten, my personal situation in the space has kind of gotten just unmanageable, and I really need to do some refining here. So let's jump in and we'll chat about it. Okay, so on the screen here, you can see what I put together as far as notes go for this video. I like to always share this because, I'm just going to be kind of reading off of it and adding a bunch of detail and stuff like that. I'll also be going through and actually showing you all of the things that I have on here, a bunch of different resources that I've came across in the past, spreadsheets that I've made. We'll just definitely, there's going to be a lot of visual aids. But the reason that, again, I want to make this video, and one of the themes that is going to be throughout this is I'm going to be completely transparent with like the things that we're talking about here. And I'm going to I've tried to remember everything to the best of my knowledge. And I guess one further reason for me making this video is that if you have been kind of sitting on the sidelines, or you've even been a part of crypto to some degree in the past year, you've definitely heard of it at this point, because it's gained a lot of popularity. Like, everybody was talking about Bitcoin and NFTs and all that sort of stuff, and it's just going to continue to get bigger. But I definitely made some mistakes, and I just kind of want to share them and talk about, where we're headed from here. So with that out of the way, let's talk about this. So I have this document here I've created. It's just starting over in crypto. How did I get here, right? So there's three parts. How did I get here? Why am I making this video? Why am I doing this? And my plan to kind of start over is the way that I kind of see it. Most of this is still kind of fluid. I haven't really decided on all this, but I definitely am kind of leaning towards this moving forward. All right, so let's start though at the beginning. So how did I get here? So in early 2021, late 2020, there was a lot of movement in the crypto market. You could go back, you could look at charts, but I saw that the crypto market was kind of exploding. Bitcoin was on the rise. It was like, I guess the bull, the bull market. It was, in a bull market where there was a lot of stuff going on. People were excited, and the market was overall just trending up. So I was like, okay, I should probably take this seriously. I should look into some things, because previous to that, I didn't really do anything. I was on Coinbase a little bit, maybe a couple years before, bought like very small amounts of like Bitcoin. I think it was just Bitcoin, maybe like $25 or something like that. Nothing substantial whatsoever. And then at this point, I was like, okay, I need to take it seriously. So I started watching a lot of crypto content on YouTube, was researching things, met a lot of good people. Had some conversations over on Fueled by Progress with some great people, and you can take a look at all that over on the website. I'll have links in the description for everything that I kind of chat about here, because I mentioned I made some mistakes. We will definitely get to those, but I also did a lot of things that I just learned from a lot of things, and I do have some tips and resources and stuff like that I think a lot of other people could benefit from. When I started watching all of that YouTube content, I started using a bunch of different exchanges. So like, if you can kind of see here, I have a personal finances folder up here, and then I have a crypto folder within that, and all of these different, resources and exchanges and stuff that I was using. So I have Coin Market Cap and Coin Stats. We'll get into all this stuff, and just like Binance US and Voyager and all these things. Okay. So in that time period, I was jumping onto a bunch of different exchanges, because it was even less developed, obviously, a year ago. You couldn't get certain coins on certain exchanges and all that sort of stuff. So I was like thinking, what coin should I buy, or what should I get into, what project and stuff, and then I would have to go find it, and that was like a very normal thing. And then it just continues to get kind of out of hand as we continue to go. I bought like a bunch of different coins. I don't know how many I was holding at one point. It was probably, I would say it's probably like at least 30 or so, like different coins. And that might not be a lot to some people. It's probably a lot to some and not a lot to others. But the point is that I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. And it wasn't like an obscene amount of money in every one of these little small coins. I was kind of like, at least in that regard, I wasn't like just, random YOLO coin, $10,000. That wasn't really like that. but it was just not smart. Like for me, because I was in this position where I was kind of like half baked into it. I wanted to get into it. I wanted to, obviously everybody wants to invest and make money. But at the same time though, like I was talking to people that were in this shit 24/7, and I kind of wanted to be the dude that was just like getting that information, making some moves, and then getting out in a way. And I just didn't get out. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm in a terrible position. Now we'll continue and we'll talk about that. But just in general, like I think that's a good thing to hit on, is if you are interested in something and you want to do it very well, you need to be like very committed to it. And I was not. I just my commitment level and my activeness in like investing and paying attention wasn't where it needed to be. So this is kind of where it started. Like if I look back, this is kind of where it started. I was just too diversified in the stuff that I was doing because I wasn't paying enough attention to a lot of that. But I started to create some spreadsheets and started using tools like CoinStats and stuff, which I would highly recommend if you are going to do something like this. If you're going to get into crypto at all, you need to keep track of it. So I use CoinStats. I've paid like $5 a month for, I don't know, probably like 6 to 12 months or something like that. And it's helped. It gives you a good snapshot of what you need to do. But just in general, like make a spreadsheet, track something, because it's a pain in the ass if you don't do that. And it's not like you're on one exchange. It's not like you're on one like brokerage in, Robinhood or something like that when you're doing traditional stocks, and you can see all of your past trades and you can see like how, much you're up or down or whatever. It's just, that was from my experience, very difficult to track all that. You need to be very religious in making sure that you're doing that, or you have a tool that does it for you. So around that time, I don't really have exact dates or anything on here, but this was probably around like in the beginning of the year, still maybe like March. At some point, we'll say like by the the fourth month, March, April, I'd withdrew $7,000, roughly $7,000 from Robinhood that I just was messing around with for the last couple years in trading stocks. I took that out of that. I put that into like what I called like my crypto, verse or crypto space, like the crypto ecosystem that I had. That's kind of the way that I thought about it. Was I had, traditional stock money, and then I had this new crypto ecosystem kind of here that I was building. So money came in there, and that was like money to just obviously use with crypto. I tried to keep track of it. Like I said, it just over time it didn't kind of go the way that I wanted to. So then at some point I had about 13,000 in a Fidelity brokerage account, and I withdrew that as well and put that into the crypto like ecosystem. So with that, I didn't touch my Roth IRA, and I thought about it, but I never did. My Roth IRA with Fidelity is still intact, and I that is a topic for a different video. It's a little bit outside the scope of this, but I still don't really. When we get to the latter half of this, maybe I'll chat a little bit more about it. But I still don't really believe in that. I've actually become less. This whole story is a little weird. I've become less confident in like the U.S. dollar, and still more in crypto, even though I'm having this conversation right now. It all makes sense as I tied together, but that's basically the gist there. I withdrew all that. So at that point, I wasn't really involved in the stock market other than like the very passive, like retirement stuff. Ultimately, and I will shoot over to the spreadsheet here in a second. Ultimately, I invested, from what I recall and what I have written down, I guess I was $30,000 into crypto, like into the cryptoverse, the crypto ecosystem. I put that much in. So let's go over and take a look at what I have there on that. So this is a spreadsheet that I created, and I was trying to this was one way I was trying to keep track of it. I had a few different ways, and this is, pretty much just as it says. So like I have the wallet or the exchange, and I have them all listed here, and then I have total USD in. So from what I remember and what I have written down, like I said, this is how much money I put into the ecosystem here. And then these are the holdings, that I wrote down, that I noted on these specific dates in 2021. And then I literally just did this one today in 2022. So if we just take a look at this, you can see it's been a wild ride. And if you would look at a regular chart of just like Bitcoin, for instance, if it's, if you say it kind of mirrors the market, I guess it's somewhat indicative of this. So, just going by this, like 30,000 in, and then on 5/13/2021, I was up 10,000. So I had this conclusion line down here. In 5 months of trading, somewhat seriously, I was up $10,000. That was great. That was 33% in 5 months or whatever. And then at that time, I think it started to dip a little bit, obviously, because it went back down to like if I'm not going to go to a chart right now, but like I'm pretty sure, like go back and look, like in 2021, like I started kind of like as the run up was almost not like completely at its peak, but very close to that point. So I was a little bit late to the party, early for a lot of things, but still late in that specific run up. And then I got to that point, and then it went down again, right, in the next 3 months or whatever, and then it went down even further in the next 2 months. And like at this point is where I really stopped caring. Like I haven't even thought about crypto specifically. Today is March 2nd, 2022. And you can see there that 5 month gap. I didn't even really think about this too much at all. And we're kind of even, as you can see there between these past, 5 months here. That doesn't take into account some other things, but which I'll kind of get to here in a second. But I wanted to show you this because this is what I've dealt with. Okay, so this is like the scope of the kind of one of the biggest reasons that I'm doing this is because I lost track, and this is kind of my track record as far as like my personal kind of chart there. I'll show you crypto stats here for a second too, for a second here. This is a really good tool. I would highly recommend it. But the other problem with this is that I kind of felt like it wasn't really doing everything it needed to do accurately. Like I would buy something and it wouldn't update exactly. It wouldn't show me my exact, like, I don't know if I'm actually up all time $2,000 in Bitcoin. Like I'm not sure, I'm not confident in these numbers. I know this is close, but I wanted something just like a Robinhood where it would tell me exactly how much. And there's just a lot of variables. It seems like you're doing things on different exchanges. You're moving stuff around. You got to really track it is what I mean. So, and the other thing with this is it doesn't integrate with every single thing. I had some trouble with certain ones. So like the totals were off. So I would still recommend this as as something because it's a good tool and you can get it for free. And then, like I said, there are also paid versions, but that's where I was at. Okay. That was kind of the lay of the land with all that. So, in doing all of that, I did some other things as well. As I was talking about with that stock market thing, I wrote this post on my website, which, again, links in the description, all this, like, should I withdraw my 401k and invest in crypto? Because when I was doing all this, I was getting some questions from people and I tried to do my best to answer them based on the information that I had. And, I had like this little retirement calculator and I did like a, comparison and everything like that. And I was really bullish on this idea at this point. Like, you should probably do that. And to be honest, I'm still kind of bullish on that because I still think that like crypto is going to be a better situation than the US dollar is because we printed 40% of, all of our dollars in the last like 18 months and stuff like that. So it's not looking good in my opinion. But again, the point of this is that I didn't do this as best as I could this first time around. And I'd like to be a little better moving forward. Some of the other things that I did was I bought a hardware wallet, which again, I would highly recommend. Not going to go into super detail with this, but like I have the Ledger Nano X. And I think that you should have that and understand crypto. As a quick aside here, if you're going to get into crypto, you need to understand what the hell is going on. And what I mean by that is like the actual concepts. Like the reason I bought a Nano X is because I wanted to hold Bitcoin off of the exchanges. Like if you buy it on Coinbase, it's okay, cool. But if something happens to Coinbase, you don't actually have that crypto. You need to pull it off of there and use your own, transfer it to your own wallet that the private key to, and nobody else can ever take it, unless there's something that happens, I guess maybe with the network or like you are you're the vulnerable point there. Like if, you give up your private key or whatever. So you just want to have your keys in your hands is a way to think about it, right? So I bought that. That was a big thing because I don't think a lot of people have. I mean, maybe more now, but at the time it was like if you got that, it was like, okay, you kind of know a little much more than like the average person that's just messing around like buying crypto on Robinhood when they first released the ability to buy cryptocurrency. That was just don't do that. You couldn't even get it off. I'm still not sure if you can get it off, but again, that was something that I did there. And then I bought some of you that if you're watching this because you subscribed to me because of the helium stuff, thank you so much. But I bought that helium hotspot and it was probably the best investment that I made throughout all of this. Not for the reason you would think, because right now I have like 38 H&T coins mined or tokens or whatever, and it's less than $1,000, and it's never been higher than like $1,400. So like I only paid 500 for it, so it's still like a positive investment. When I purchased it, I think there was roughly 100,000 hotspots worldwide, and now there's 600,000. So that probably has something to do with it. The other thing is like I didn't ever really cared about like optimizing that, so it's pretty good. I made an update video. I'm relatively happy. It's a positive investment, right? I mean, like it's whatever. But the secondary reason that it was probably the best investment was not just because of that money that I made through the H&T that I have now, but also because it got me all the subscribers. It got me to the point where I could monetize on the videos, and I made a decent bit of ad revenue from that. Actual numbers, I'm not sure. It's probably been like on average $400 over the past like 3 or so months, like since I got monetized. So appreciate all of you, every single one of you. But that's the reason there is like, that wasn't directly from crypto, but it was still, a good investment all around. Another thing that I did was I got the BlockFi Visa rewards card. Highly recommend that. I mean, in my opinion, don't get a debit card. Like I just logged into Ledger Live again. I logged into Voyager again for the first time in a while. And it seems like all of these places are giving you debit cards to spend, I guess, against your portfolio in your exchange apps. Don't do that. I don't know why you would do that. Like, first of all, the crypto is probably more valuable than the dollar long term. Okay, again, separate issue. But the other thing is like, get the credit card, because then you just spend USD and you get Bitcoin back. I'll have a link for that in the description. If you use it, we both get some money. So it's probably a good idea for you. But I don't know. This is just what I think. I think it's a great idea. I've used this a lot. It's kind of my anything else type of card because it's 1.5. You can get better stuff, but I don't know. Especially with Bitcoin being down, like I was like, let me use this card more. So then the rewards that I get, I could buy that. It automatically buys Bitcoin at the end of the month, and then as Bitcoin continues to go up, we'll just continue to have. We'll continue to get more Bitcoin, right? Or it'll be worth more. So I did that. I've created, like I said, content on my website. I will leave a link to both of these. There's some resources. So these are all like the crypto resources, just all the different exchanges that I used, and then some like swaps and different things like that. And then also this other page that I had, this other section here, my crypto influences. So these are all the people that I learned from, right? Alex Becker, Benjamin Cohen, all these different influencers and stuff, and just content creators. Can't say enough about them because in me saying all of this, I'm not blaming anybody that gave me some information. I'm just trying to rehash everything that I did, and again, talk about those missteps here and there. I think that I kind of took. So I did all that, and then some of the things that like I really shouldn't have done because I was in a place like mentally that I just didn't give enough of a crap about this. Like I did, but I didn't. I was again half baked into it. I was doing all sorts. I started to mess around with the idea of like Pancake Swap and like maybe even Sushi Swap or whatever. There's another one too, but just those different swap ones where you'd have BNB and you take it over to Pancake Swap and you would get like a coin that is it's gonna shoot up, right? Or that's just the way that I felt about it. And I never took the time to really design a good way and really process a good way of like actually finding good investment opportunities. I just kind of listened to other people's stuff and, it's like, oh, Gem Insider on Twitter. Oh, you should get this one. Like, you should just go swap this one or whatever because it's going to blow up. And then like, there'd be rug pulls and things like that. I know for certain I definitely did that a couple times. Like my Trust wallet had like, shitty Chad token in it or something like that. It's like, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you can do it and you do it well, because I do know people that were in this 24/7 looking at charts all the time, and I'm assuming they made a pretty decent, income or whatever, like a good living off of it. But it just wasn't for me, and I kind of regret that a little bit because I didn't waste a lot of money. Like I don't think these numbers are very big. That I've talked about so far here and what I currently have and all that. But I just wasted time and energy, and it was just like stressful at the time. And then now looking back on it, I'm like just kind of kicking myself because of it. So yeah, I was looking for like moonshots and stuff like that, and because like it was like almost like a FOMO type thing, but it was like not everything else that I kind of did and do in my life. I kind of have more of an idea of if it's a good idea or not, and like I try to lean towards things that are that I know more about, and it just that was the whole point. I just didn't know enough, and I didn't I didn't put the time and energy into understanding it as well as I should. So with all of that, at some point in there too, it's cool when you're doing stuff and you're just like, for a while there, I was just kind of even holding and it was going up. But then once it starts to go down, you're like, damn. So then I was like, it started to go down and I was like, I'm just going to hold because like, I can't sell now. And then I saw it started to dip and I just stopped actively caring. So I don't know when that was. Again, if we go back to the numbers, it was probably right around this time, like later in the year. And I just didn't care. So to answer the question, like, why am I doing this? Why am I making this video? Why am I just having this idea now? That's kind of the section that we got to go through here next is I don't have the time or energy. I really don't. I'm trying to do too many other things. And I knew this before, and now I'm like actually acting on it. I don't have the time or energy to follow this as closely as I should. Not to mention, we didn't even touch like NFTs. I could talk for hours on like everything that I've experienced in that. I've been like directly a part of it. There is a lot of good there, but there is a lot of bullshit. It's like phenomenal how wild this stuff is getting and how people are just selling like absolute crap to people and they're buying it. Now, again, if you are one of those people that are making money, I applaud you, and I'm not like shitting on your hustle, but it is just mind-boggling to me that people are buying things that have no utility whatsoever and are, again, just like digital art that is kind of weird. And that's extreme generalization because there's a lot of projects out there that do actually have utility and do have some sort of uniqueness to them. And, you know, the problem that I have right now is that everywhere I look, it's just like this, like this NFT, but like really what I believe in wholeheartedly 100% is the technology of like blockchain and the idea of like using, you know, these different projects and also ultimately like even like non-fungible tokens and stuff like that for other things. There's so many good applications that I've heard of that haven't really been fully developed yet, like, you know, even like ticketing for like concert tickets and you know, sports events and stuff like that. Like so much of that I think is brilliant. And I'd love to get more into that space, but I just don't want it to be, I don't want to be a part of the part that's like a total, that, you know, could be a total rug pull type thing where it's just like, oh, we're at the peak of the market and then it just goes down, because that would just jade me even further than I already am. So that's a whole different discussion, but still related there. But again, I've lost track pretty much, like you saw through those spreadsheets and through that stuff. I've lost track and I've lost control, and I'm not really like comfortable living in that way. Because I don't know, I just like to know what's going on. I've always been a financial, you know, minded person, and I have like, you know, other things like on the traditional finance side that I keep track of everything. I want to kind of do that with everything, including crypto, and I need to kind of start over, I feel like, to do that. And ultimately, even with where I'm at now, I have less, but we could still see like from here, from 1, 2, 3, 4, like, I mean, there's probably like, I don't know, I still have a good bit that I probably have lost money in, and I just don't care enough to like continue to hold on to. I'm just still too diversified, in my opinion. I don't want to care. I don't want to wake up every morning, and I haven't done it in a while, but I feel like I would need to like wake up and be like, oh, how's Engine doing today? Like I don't want to do that. So maybe it doesn't make sense to sell this stuff now, but I still feel like it's probably better to just cut my losses and just like try to do this over again with a little more sophistication this time, and like, you know, just something more catered to what I actually want to do. But yeah, I'm not really comfortable with that diversification level. This next thing is, if you guys haven't seen this, I'll drop this link down there as well. But there was a recent podcast here with Patrick Bet-David. I listened to a lot of his stuff there, but he had Michael Saylor on. And if you're in the crypto space. You probably know him. I don't know if you like him, you don't like him or whatever, but he's made a lot of money off Bitcoin. And he was basically seemed like he had a company called MicroStrategy, and he says it in here. I've listened to other things by Michael Saylor. I think this is an important point. I've listened to a lot of other things by him, but I like the way PBD conducts his interviews, but Michael talked so much in this podcast, and he talks a lot about, like, he lays out everything that he kind of went through, and he lays out like arguments to why you shouldn't like hold money in cash, you shouldn't hold money in gold, you shouldn't hold real estate. Like, not you shouldn't, but like like how Bitcoin's better. Okay, and I'm not taking him as like like a godsend, like trust everything that he says, but it was put to me in such a way in this episode that like I really like it, just kind of resonated with me based on the experiences that I've had, the things that I know, and then also just kind of hearing it from him as somebody who has obviously made money from that. So that episode did some things for me, and it just made me kind of believe. It kind of made me closer to a Bitcoin maxi in a way, which is somebody just only believes in kind of Bitcoin, but not to that extent. I do believe that there's a lot of value in these other platforms, but when it comes to like what I kind of want to do and what I really believe in crypto at its core with is like a preservation of value, and just like set it and forget it, and like that medium, in this case Bitcoin, is going to gain value as like other currencies devalue. Like, just inflation is unbelievable. He talks a lot about that in that episode. Made a lot of sense to me. That's what I'm going to put. I'm not going to go any more in depth with that, but I think that is a strategy that I think that it would be better for me. And then also layer in maybe a little bit of this outside stuff, as the technology continues to evolve and these other platforms and these other coins start to get, a little more, even more sophisticated than they have become in the past year. So I do fully believe that crypto is a solution to many problems. I love decentralization. I really think that is going to solve a lot of things. The idea that Bitcoin has a limited supply, I think that's extremely important, because we've seen how that screws everything up when you just print, unlimited amount of money and devalue everybody's funds that they have. So I think that's all good. And I am just really starting to believe that there's so much out there now. It's not to say that like I couldn't just, or you couldn't just like, create a cryptocurrency and it would actually be really good and take off, and long term it'd be good. But I just think that there's like 17, he said in there, and I've seen on CoinMarketCap, there's thousands of cryptocurrencies, and I just think that a lot of them are trash. And it's not because I've looked at everyone, but it just doesn't make any sense that like random people are spinning up their stuff. It's going up like 10,000% to like 0.00001, and then nothing comes of it. So I just think of it almost as investing in like blue chip stocks. I'm just trying to stay more towards the top, more towards the things that are, I don't really want to look in these micro caps. I don't have enough energy and time to do it. It would be really nice if I could be like Alex Becker and just dive in and look at all these coins and tokens that are in like the 500 rank range on CoinMarketCap and just know somehow that they're going to shoot up like 10,000%. But I just don't want to do it, because I know that if I watch his feed on Twitter and he says one and then it doesn't boom, and I buy in and it doesn't boom, I'm going to be pissed. So it's like, and then I'm going to be, but I can't be mad at him. I got to be mad at myself. And if I'm not going to put in the work, I just think that's kind of the whole theme of this video is if I'm not going to put in the work, I don't want to do that. And but if it's working for you, don't stop. This is just kind of where I'm at. So having said all of that, and trying to wrap my head around that for the last couple of days, my plan to start over here, in a sense, is I pretty much want to go through over the next like week or so and start to figure out where I'm at and start selling off some things. I definitely would love to sell things at a profit, because it would make me feel better, I guess. But even cutting losses, I don't think would be the end of the world. And then try to just stay more on that top-down approach, starting with Bitcoin, trying to preserve that wealth long-term, because I really think it's going to be vital. Like, I would actually entertain the idea of cashing out my Roth IRA which is like $50,000, and putting that into Bitcoin. Now, I mean, there'd be penalties and stuff like that. So I've always thought about that last year, but I'm not going to actually do that unless I had to. But still, though, right now, I believe that it would be a better idea for me to do that than for me to continue to invest in the Roth IRA, because that's definitely a long-term investment. I just feel that when I get to be 65 or whatever, that money might be a bigger number if it continues to go up traditionally, but it's not going to be worth what, potentially the crypto market could be, or Bitcoin or whatever. So I really think that right now is an interesting spot because we haven't hit that limited supply, that total supply of Bitcoin. I think whenever we do, which I can't remember off the top of my head, I thought it was in like 2040, but don't quote me because that's probably wrong. But the point is that we're so early to this party still. I don't want to miss the bus completely, but I don't want to be the person that's like in the trenches 24/7 dealing with this. So I need some exposure, which is pretty much like almost all the exposure that I would have in this. But yeah, so I want to do that. I want to definitely consolidate 100%. I want to track every move moving forward. That's one of the reasons I kind of want to sell everything and start over. Is because, which is probably not a good idea, but I want to do that. I would like to do that because then I could be completely fresh and be like, okay, this is where I bought in, boom. Doesn't really make sense because, you should probably still just want to make money, because I don't know what my cost basis is on Bitcoin, but I'm pretty sure I am up because I haven't, like, it was earlier on that I bought Bitcoin. But again, need to track everything, and we'll focus on the long-term holding, and I want to hold my keys basically in everything because it's not that I don't have faith in exchanges, but I've just had kind of money sitting out in these exchanges. And if something would have happened, especially during like the weirdness of now where it's like kind of the Wild West, but like they're talking about regulation and all that sort of stuff, I would have really been screwed if like something would have happened. And I just like to hold, I love the concept of being your own bank 150%. Like I will put all of the money I own on this little thing and not think twice about it. It's not on there, but you know what I'm saying? Like hold the keys on there because I trust myself more than I trust anybody else, so I love that concept. It's just all the other things that are kind of intersect with that is the slight concern of, is this a good idea? Is this a good investment? That type of thing. And the last thing that I need to do 100% is because I have stuff everywhere, after I consolidate, like, let's say hypothetically I could get everything on here, which you can't. It's a side note that I'm angry about. Like, I don't know why Ledger hasn't made the opportunity to like put everything on there. You have to use wallets. I mean, I guess it's a probably limitation of some platforms like Ada and stuff. You have to have a third-party wallet. Let's forget about that for now. The point is that whatever I end up consolidating down to, I want to make sure that I have like a crypto will in place. I just made that up. Maybe somebody else had that already. But the problem that I had that I've actually been quite concerned about is that's not a huge amount of money that I have right now. I think, again, it's like 20,000 that I have holding and all those different things. Because it's unregulated and stuff, there's no there's no beneficiary. Like if you're in Fidelity or whatever, you can name a beneficiary, and then assuming, I don't know how it actually works, but assuming when you die, they actually get some of the money at least. But the thing is now, if I would have died in the last year, nobody would have known like how to do this or how to access this or the other things and stuff like that. So that's just maybe a tip, tell people how to do that, and like people you trust, obviously. And then in a terrible situation like that, make sure they know your seed phrase and how to get your stuff back, especially if you are somebody that's really involved. You don't want to lose that. I mean, there's too many stories of people losing Bitcoin from way back in the day, and now it'd be worth like millions of dollars. So that's just a thought there. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. And again, I'm not like, I came into this video. I wanted to talk about what I had. I wanted to be very transparent because hopefully, maybe some of you had a similar experience, or maybe you can learn at least one thing from the stuff that I did, or just these concepts, these thoughts. But that's where I'm at and kind of what I want to do moving forward. I can't say how quickly I'll do any of that, but I'll try my best to continue to update people on this because I don't know. I like to tell the story. I like to talk about the things that I have going on there. And this is just a really interesting time. Like, again, at the end of the day, we are living through a very interesting shift in what I truly believe in is going to be like the new way that we handle more than money. It's more than currency. It's, again, back to that thing. Michael Saylor says, like, there's crypto property. He said that's Bitcoin. There's crypto securities. There's crypto, like, currency. Like, there's all these different types of things that just haven't been hashed out yet. Like, people know, like, a lot of people know, like, 1% of it, and then some people know more. But really, when you, like, dig down deep into it, there's a lot of stuff to learn. And because it's so early on, stuff has only been around for, like, less than 15 years. There's just so much to it. We haven't even scratched the surface yet. We're so early. I want to be a part of it, but I don't want to be an idiot. So, and to this point, I have been potentially slightly more of an idiot than I've been, sophisticated at it. And that's the experience that I've had. And I just want to continue to try to do my best, and probably going to start over here with all the experience that we have to this point. So that's it. I'm done. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and appreciate all the support. If you like the stuff, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe. Feel free to comment. I'd love to chat about this stuff. But that's all I got for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it, and I will talk to you in the next one.